G'day and welcome to the Larry Lakers. I'm Tony and we're joined today by a lot of questions from you, the viewers. They can send them in to thelarrylakers@gmail.com or put them in the comments below. We love to have your questions because that makes the show what it is here today. 109-101. The Lakers have beaten the Kings in a preseason game. Welcome to LA. Well, really, welcome to Disneyland. They weren't near enough to it there, out at Anaheim, in the place where I think the Ducks play in the ice hockey. They weren't at the Crypto, but they were in Los Angeles, albeit a fair way out. If you ever go there and you get those shuttles, it seems to take forever in those shuttles to get out to Anaheim. But did the D'Angelo train keep going? Did it continue to roll? Could it be Don't Go D'Angelo 3, like Rocky 1, 2, 3? What about Don't Go D'Angelo 3? A bit like the end of Shane. Shane, don't go. What a book, what a movie. Here it is. Welcome to LA, Gabe Vincent. D'Angelo, did he continue? Who played today? Was everyone available? Did we rest some players? Who stood out? Great questions. Who concerned us? Are there still some concerns about some players who haven't quite clicked in Game 3? So Gabe, Russell and Rui. Oi, oi. Away it goes. Wow, Rui. He's playing well. 3 years ago today, what happened 3 years ago on this day? Swiderman, THT. Speaking of blasts from the past, like 3 years ago today, in our recent history, Swiderman, THT, and T. Bryant, what are they up to? And to throw one more in that rhymes with that, McGee. He was in that championship 3 years ago. Let's talk about what he did today. Short shorts are back, or are they? I don't think everyone's wearing short shorts, but there is one pair running around on the LA Lakers. We'll talk about that in a minute. The Boys of Summer. There's a rumor that they got a whole quarter together, the Boys of Summer League. Could it be? How did they go? And who's next for the LA Lakers? Rightio, folks. 3 years ago today, you guessed it. I bet you're all over it. The Lakers won the championship in the bubble. I did look on some of the Facebook pages, and there were people saying, the weakest championship ever won. And then, of course, people would counter the hardest championship ever won. Those of us who went through the various aspects of COVID would know what it was like. Imagine going away and playing it away from home for all of that period of time. No home games there for anyone. Pretty close to a home game, perhaps, if you were Miami or really the Orlando Magic, but they weren't there. Miami, and they got to the final, of course. Miami, not far from them, from home. But 3 years ago today, who could forget? We still will count it, and I'll go with the other crowd that say could have been one of the hardest championships ever won. And AD back in form. Everyone says, when's he returning to that? Could there be signs of that this season? Maybe there is. Okay, what about Swiderman, THT, Javalle McGee, and T. Bryant? What's going on there? 3 years ago today, but what about history a little closer? You can't keep everyone. People keep saying, I wish we had Cole Swider. Well, you're not alone. I love to see Cole Swider. He was a project. I think the Lakers kept him as long as they could. Just didn't seem to be able to create his shot. I think they were hoping he would be a Bogdanovich there, sort of a lighter version of him from the Detroit Pistons there. But didn't quite get that football work that Bogdanovich has. Didn't quite get that ability to create his shot. Somehow, in this game, he got 17 points in the fourth quarter. I think he was something like 2 of 7, 3 of 7, but he said his teammates in a post-game interview kept shooting it. Shoot it. They kept saying to him, have a shot there, Cole. You can do it. And he believes in himself. He's a shooter. He doesn't mind missing some and then still taking another one. But it was great to see a Laker. I hope it doesn't come back to bite us. But Cole Swider, he hit him and they were behind. They had to sneak up and win that in the last minute and a half. Cole Swider, if you can get it, have a look at least at the highlights. And there's even packages going around just to the fourth quarter bits for Cole Swider. You don't even have to watch the whole game. Get a look at it if you can. I think on our good places like YouTube, you'll track it down. down. Don't upset the NBA by going to unofficial sites, but you'll see the game. And Swider, mate, he hit some great shots, and it was good to see him. He even looked slimmer and faster, something about the Miami Heat uniform, or maybe their strength and conditioning, but the Lakers did put some time into him. We're happy to see him succeed, as long as it's not when he's playing us. Now, what about THT? He top scored with 22 points there. 24 points. He's 22 years of age for Utah against the Clippers. But in the THT case, they tried to storm home, but it was a loss against the Clippers. Cole Swider to rub it into the Lakers just a little bit more. You'll laugh at this. Cole Swider and the other former Laker, Thomas Bryant, combined for 32 points. So 17 there for Cole Swider, all in the fourth quarter. Okay, let's get back to the Lakers. 109-101. The game leaders, if you're pumping into the NBA, they'll say, D. Russell, yeah, great. The D'Angelo, don't go. Part 3, like Rocky, continues. We still don't want him to go. But watch this. He pops up again. 8 assists. D'Angelo, don't go. Don't get traded. Lakers, keep this man. He seems to be doing something. I realise he has quiet times, but the shooting can't continue like this. But look at this, the assists are there. If he can balance those times when he's not quite shooting from the 3, he's also got a little bit of magic touch in close. Couple of little changes of speed, and he got to layups today. Very clever, very classy with that left hand. Taurean Prince, 7 rebounds, but I think it was better than that for Taurean. But there they are. If people say, points, rebounds, assists, who stood out? They're the 3, but there was much more in this game, and we'll have a look at them. Okay, what about Gabe Vincent? A couple of shows ago, 2 shows in a row, the last 2 in a row, go back and have a look at them. We said we weren't worried about Gabe Vincent. We think something's coming. He was sort of 2 or 7-ish, around that range last game. He was looking a little more aggressively for his shot. But this time, I think he got the opportunity to start. We'll have a look at that shortly because there were quite a few players out. We commented on the fact that he probably hadn't had a fair sort of case to put forward because a lot of his games so far had been with the bench. So while his real plus-minus was often in the slight negative area, we weren't worried about it because he probably hadn't had the chance to play with the players that he's perhaps used to, or that standard that really suits his game and that he played with at Miami. So today, let's see how he went. He's up here pictured in this shot for those on the YouTube against Darren Fox. So he was one of the best players there for the Sacramento Kings, as was Sabonis. Okay, well, we'll have a look at this. These are the 2 standouts, along with a couple of others. I will say Rui was very good. Here's our starters, as we said, in terms of Gabe Vincent getting a go with the starters. Plus, I think he's been sort of heating up like the crock pot. He's been coming along nicely, slowly heating up to this season. He's got a bit of experience now. He's been there with the Heat. He knows what it takes to get in condition and get in timing. So Gabe Vincent, in his 3rd game, here's some really good signs. Taurean Prince started. Rui, he was there. Jackson Hayes, now we talked about him last time. He's got the nod ahead of Christian Wood, whereas it looked like it might have been a promise or something when he signed the other way around that Christian Wood might get the time ahead of Jackson Hayes. But at least in this preseason game, Jackson Hayes started, and Gabe Vincent and D'Angelo Russell. So there's the 5. Let's have a look at the standouts there, though. Gabe Vincent in his 26 minutes, 7 of 12 shooting, but this is the beauty. 4 of 8 from three-point land. We've commented on it before. If he's replacing Dennis Schroeder, and I'm not sure that he is, but I guess he is as a point of attack defender, but their games are a little bit different. This shot of his, it's a quicker release. It's deeper than Dennis Schroeder, who was able to get his release in the World Cup there, winning for Germany. Hit some threes, much to the annoyance of the other teams, including the USA at one stage there with Austin Reeves. But replacing Dennis Schroeder, I guess, around that money and what they're both on now, a little bit more, Dennis Schroeder perhaps, there with the Raptors. But what matters is Gabe Vincent's with us. He played well, and he's starting to get better and better. Today, he showed he could hit the 3 if the defender tried to pop under the screen. Even one today in a crowd where the defender was still close, but just got a little under the screen, tried to get around under the screen, and he hit it. That's how quick he can get it off, and in that crowd. And then another one, very close succession to that, running down the court, and he's hit on a pull-up on the run. So a couple of different ways he can get his three off, which adds to the promise there. But 50% today, we might not always get that, but welcome today, Gabe Vincent in La La Land, Disneyland. We're just about there at Anaheim. Great to see. What a time to stand up. Only the 2 assists, 18 points though, and a real plus minus of 11. Torian Prince, a good game, solid game. 12 in his real plus minus. 5 of 9 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. A couple of them rushed. They were very late in the shot clock. People were right up on him, and he had to take them. One was incredibly late. He really had to. It was a fraction of a second before the shot clock was off. It was a hospital pass. Somebody's given it to him, and really set him up and just avoided the miss for those guys. They knew it was running out, and another one was a little bit under the hammer, pretty close to a foul, or the player was right on him. But a couple of plays later, you thought, well, as he put the three-point shot away, Torian Prince, he hit one from the corner, and it was absolute cracker, and you thought, well, this is close. His defense looked good. Again, how do you get a charge on this guy, Sabonis? He runs people over. He's blocked one there that hit poor old Max Christie in the face. But let's concentrate on Torian Prince. He tried to get in front of Sabonis a couple of times. Looked like a charge, and it was reversed on appeal there. But we said last time he was getting a lot of fouls. He had fouled off, then he had the 5, because he's getting himself just about there. Today he's getting even closer to getting there and getting the charge. As you can see, just the 2 personal fouls after having a run of 6 in just 12 minutes fouled off, and 5 in the last game, even though there were signs of improvement. Rui Hachimura, well done, Rui. We might talk about him in a minute there, but another good game. Jackson Hayes, this is one we should have a look at. Hasn't missed a shot. I don't think that can continue, but we talked about it last time. If you're shooting from above the rim, it's pretty hard to miss. Jackson Hayes still looking a little unorthodox at times, but a little awkward. But he is keen. He's out there. He's a big body. He's the sort of body we need in the physicality there if we're going to play against some of the bigger centres like Embiid and Jokic. It's just starting to rain here, so you'll hear the good rain on the roof, and we need it because it's pretty dry around these parts. But Jackson Hayes, 14 points and a positive real plus minus of 5. Let's move on. Okay, folks, this was another lineup. We said De'Aaron Fox was one. It was almost the match of the D hyphens, D'Angelo and De'Aaron, because I think they marked each other a fair bit, and I think D'Angelo lifted a little bit. He's a guy who's called slow at times, and once or twice there, he just did a little hezzy and accelerated past De'Aaron Fox. Another time, a guy who's been criticised for his lack of defence, D'Angelo Russell, got a nice little block on De'Aaron Fox. So here's a guy who's been highly fancied in the form of Fox. 2 left-handers as well. So it was interesting. Different style of shot there from the three-point land, but the slow sort of game shift that's very sort of classy and sleek from D'Angelo Russell versus the speed that was early from De'Aaron Fox in his career that he's now learned to sort of control a bit. He's become like a 20-plus point a game player, and he was the crunch time player of the year last year in the NBA. So I think it was, even though this is just a trial game, just a preseason game, there was something in it for D'Angelo Russell to find something different. Having shot the ball well in the first 2 games, I think he found something to spark him up a little bit, and I think it was the matchup with Fox. Okay, folks, who did play and who didn't play? Well, there was nearly a starting team on the bench. Austin Reeves, did not play. We've got our man here, Vanderbilt. He didn't play there, Jared. So that was interesting that Vanderbilt didn't play. That heel, it was said to be day-to-day. Cam Reddish, who we were concerned about, one, fitting in the team, but getting injured so early that he hasn't had a chance to fit in the team. Cam Reddish was on the list as day-to-day as well. So that could be good news there that Vanderbilt and Reddish are day-to-day. AD had a rest after playing well in the first two games, looking really good, AD. So probably smart to give him a little rest there. And LeBron had a rest having played one game. So hopefully we'll see him in the next game against Golden State. But there's four guys you could easily start in a Lakers uniform. Rightio, folks, we'll try and finish off in a storm here, but who else was on the edge of concern? If those guys stood out, what happened? Well, Jalen Hood-Schifino, that's a storm here, but Jalen Hood-Schifino, 20 minutes, but just 20% from field goal average. Lucky Javalle McGee was doing very Javalle McGee type things, and was willing to block one of his shots, but it was already off the backboard. So goaltending gave the basket straight to Jalen Hood-Schifino, which got him on the boards, and another little basket there. He looked good in defence, got one or two steals there. Nice to see there in defence. But Jalen Hood-Schifino still struggling to score. Looks very strong in terms of getting the ball to where we need to get it. That's a great thing. Looks good in defence. And is quite a good rebounder for a guard. Christian Wood, he got more points today, 13 points. He's got 5 of 7, 71%. That's great. He looked a little bit better today, but in the third quarter, something must happen. They must switch on up here. He still looked like he was forcing the ball a bit in the third quarter, and a couple of times there they were teammates let go by the Dallas Mavericks. Interesting to see that they were against each other today, he and JaVale McGee, and a couple of times I thought defensively JaVale got the better of him, except for one there early. He overplayed him for the three-pointer, and he looked a bit rusty putting the ball on the floor a couple of times, but this time Wood, a couple of bounces, beautiful big dunk, and I think that buoyed his confidence for the whole game. We didn't quite get the same game from Maxwell Lewis, but he still looks a good athlete. You still got to be happy with 60% shooting in his 15 minutes. 15 minutes, 60% shooting, 7 points. He was a -2 on his real plus minus, but he still looks a good athlete, promising, and looks like he's got more points in him at this stage than Hood-Schifino. Hood-Schifino's pretty close, but it just looks a bit pushed and a little hard at the ring, some of his shots. Maybe he'll settle in there and find something just a little softer in the shot range. So 3 players we're a bit concerned about. Today, Maxwell Lewis, still exciting, just a peg back. A couple of times, he's only got 1 turnover on here, but it looked like he was involved in sort of 3 or more turnovers where might have travelled or got a foot out, or just where he'd do a pump fake on the three-point line on the corner, go round his man, and it didn't quite work out. So he looked athletically keen to get there, keen to impress, but a couple of turnovers it looked like, but there's only 1 on this stat sheet today. Still looks athletic. Wood, a better game. Still a couple of concerning signs for reinforcing the ball and maybe putting the ball on the floor. We need a little bit more dynamic game from him if he can develop it. And Jalen Hood-Schifino still looks strong, but we need a little bit of a softer touch on the shot. We need minutes for him to find that. He looks like a good prospect, particularly defensively, and still a strong player. Okay, short shorts are back. Somebody asks, what is going on? Are short shorts back? I don't think all the Lakers are wearing the short shorts, but one man certainly is, and that man is Maxwell Lewis, the standout from last game. Short shorts are back for Maxwell. I don't think it's catching on with the rest of the team, or perhaps he's got very long legs and very long arms, but he's still a good player, a good athlete at this stage. And look, if I had long legs, perhaps I'd be wearing even shorter shorts if I was that good an athlete. Okay, Taurean Prince, we talked about him, had a good game, 13 points. 55% shooting. 2 of 5, we'll take that. 40% from the three-point. A little unfair, as I said. One he had to force up there. Hayes, the opportunity to start, as we said, was it more minutes promised or some sort of point in the rotation to Christian Wood? But let's see if Jackson Hayes can continue in this form. And what an interesting starting five. Max Christie, he's the one I'd like to have a look at. The shooting wasn't there today for Max. He was a star of Summer League, but again, he looks classy. The 0 from 3, I'd like to see him work to the mid-range. He did 1 or 2 there today that were fantastic. Work to that mid-range, off the shoulder or the elbow of the key, and he's got a sleek sort of slight fall away, gets very high in the air. I'd like to see him use that. That's that soft touch that we'd like to see Hood-Schifino get if he could, Jalen Hood-Schifino. So keep going with it, Max Christie. But for fans who are wondering how he went today, a little down. They gave him a good run at 28 minutes, almost 29. 7 points is nice. 4 turnovers, as you can see there, wasn't quite on for him today. 4 turnovers, yes, it wasn't quite there for our friend Max Christie, the hope of Summer League and the rookie from last year. Hey, what about the boys of summer? Someone asks, what is going on with the boys of summer? Says Sean of Abbey Takeaway. Well, Sean, the boys of summer, we're still keen to get them, but guess what? They were all on for the fourth quarter. All the lads were on. The Fudge, the Hodge, Colin Castleton. It was fantastic to see him there. Jalen Hood-Schifino and Maxwell Lewis. They were the 5. The other team still had some veterans on, but particularly guys like Malik Monk, the ex-Laker, who can play. He was on, but we just put on, good on you, Darvin Ham. He put on the boys of summer. Even towards the end there, got on guys like Scottie Pippen Jr. to see if perhaps he can get signed or end up in the South Bay Lakers, or perhaps be a possible 10-day contract or something for another team. Good to get him on. He served the club well last year with the South Bay Lakers. But again, this time, Castleton, not quite as good as he was in the previous times, but he sneaks up in the stats, 50% from his shooting. A couple of them, you'd like to get that really close mid-range, just edge of the paint. It looks promising, but it just misses, just looks like a little push. Love to see him work on that. He taps rebounds and keeps them alive. In this case, 7 rebounds in 15 minutes, but you'll note they were all defensive rebounds. Be lovely to see if we could get him on the offensive boards as well. 2 blocks in short time. How about that? He did have a couple of turnovers today. Looked awkward. Looked a bit like a newborn deer. But he is a tall young fellow, perhaps still growing there, and we'll see if he can develop into a prospect. But he looks a promising team-smart player, like a sort of early rookie season Austin Reeves, in that he's a team player, smart, doesn't do a lot of stupid things on the court or a lot of selfish things. Seems a good player, seems to read the offense and be a willing passer and team-orientated man. Our man, Demoy Hodge, who I've raved about, not quite there today, but 0 of 4 from the field. Looked to be forcing his shot a little bit. He had plenty of time. He seemed to be rushing it as though it was 2 minutes of garbage time left. The ball didn't come to him, and he didn't get it where he wasn't sort of covered very often. Therefore, I think he thought, when I've got it, I better try and push something. And really, he's a bit better waiting and letting the ball move and come to him. He's quite a great shooter if he's got just a little bit of space, Demoy Hodge. He's a great defender. I'd like to see how he goes against more NBA caliber players. But have a look. He forced a turnover, and he nearly forced a couple of others. He'd stripped them, and it just got jassled, which team sort of touch off a foot, and called to have come off his foot last. But he'd really caused half a steal and a fumble from the opposition there in the Kings a couple of times. So Demoy Hodge, one to have a look at still, but not quite as good a game today. Okay, Sabonis, what have you got to do against this guy to get the offensive foul? I mean, our poor friend there, Max Christie, a good smack in the face, no call. And then down the other end, he's trying to defend him, a smack in the face. So he got a smack in the face. He's gone for a dunk, a super dunk. Everyone stood up and up, but instead of being straight up, slightly in like he's spiking the volleyball, down comes the arm and elbow of the man here, Sabonis, and smacks our man Christie in the face. Then they go down the other end. Christie's on defence, tries to take a charge. Elbow comes across from our man Sabonis, smack in the head again for poor old Max Christie. Then moments later, he's run into our Torian Prince, who's, as we said, starting to get closer. Early on, he was a little off balance, and players were just running into him. And before you know it, 6 fouls, see you later, 5 fouls second game. But it really was pretty close to a charge this time again. In fact, it was called a charge and reversed on appeal. So this man stood out, pretty aggressive, elbows going around. Harrison Barnes, still a very classy player, can get to the basket and get a three, physically strong, got all the skills. Interesting to see this guy, Sasha Vezenkov, who is one of the European MVPs. So the European MVP over here playing for the Kings. Kevin Huerter, if he's not hitting his three, the Red Velvet as they call him, tall, skinny red guy, red-headed young fellow, but good on the three-pointer, much improved player, but 1 of 5, 1 of 4 from 3. If that's not on, his contribution to the game is sometimes a little limited. Good to see Malik Monk there, the former Laker, but once again, 2 of 9. He's willing to put up some threes, Malik, as people could remember, but didn't quite get that instant microwave offense that he got going a bit for the Lakers, which got him a big pay rise in a 3-year contract there with the Kings. Okay, so what's coming up next? Thanks for sticking through us through a rainstorm, but people have said, thanks for today's game, Tony. What's next? Well, the Lakers, they were today at Anaheim. Next game in just 2 days. So on Friday, US time, over there on the Californian side, it'll be 7 p.m. And in the down under, the world down under, the Australians, it'll be Saturday's time. But this game will be back at Crypto. Golden State Warriors, we've already played them up at Golden State. We're bringing this game back here. Let's see if LeBron plays in this game. I'd like to think he'll play in one of these 2 games. The next game after that, 2 days later, against the Milwaukee Bucks at Crypto. We haven't seen much of Giannis Antetokounmpo when the Bucks have been playing. Great to see the Lopez brothers, who I think themselves love Disneyland. They love coming over. And then a 4-day break, and then going out to Palm Springs. So a little bit of a mix there. Phoenix Suns, they'll be used to that sort of temperature. And I hope LeBron plays in one of those. So if he plays in one of the 2 that are close together, we might see some of the stars like LeBron, AD, Austin Reeves, if he's one of the stars now that he's a big timer, and maybe Vando. Good to see those blokes back, and maybe Cam Reddish. If we can see all of those fellows back, that'll be good to see. But please subscribe, share, comment. Let's get your comments below on what you think's going to happen. Who should we start? Should we be concerned about any of these players? Have you got alarm bells ringing already? Do some need to go to the South Bay Lakers? And do we save, for example, that 15th spot? There's a lot of players to get on. It's been interesting playing 2 bigs at once. Is that because we've got 2 bigs or we've got too many there? Darvin Ham, he's getting those guys on. Great to see. Is it a real strategy? Could we be playing someone like Christian Wood as well as a centre like Jackson Hayes or Anthony Davis, or Jackson Hayes and Anthony Davis, even a little bit of Colin Castleton today where some of the other centres were on. So interesting to see some of that play. Darvin Ham, he hasn't done it a lot, but maybe we want to go back to some of it. Or is it just because there's so many players? Does he want to go 2 bigs, or is it because we've got too many? Now, like, subscribe, comment, share. We've told you all that. Go to our podcast. It's on all good platforms like your Spotify, your Audible even. It's on Audible. I thought only books are on there, but hey, this podcast is on there. Now, get onto that, and until next time, stay safe. Thanks for listening. We look forward to it. We'll see you then.